My daughter is a freshman in high school. She came home one day after being at her mother's for a week. We split custody and wrote homecoming on our calendar and started talking about all the plans she's made with her best friend to go to homecoming together. Homecoming week happened to fall on a week she was with me. She starts raving to my wife and me about the dress her mom took her to buy and that she's matching with her friend. She had even bought a ticket already. I was furious with her entitlement to make all these plans without asking me first. But I can't admit it's not just her fault, but her mother's as well for not clearing it with me before buying her the dress and ticket. I wouldn't put it past her and her mother to have purchased the dress and the ticket before asking to force me into letting her go. I want to teach her a lesson about asking first and not assuming that I'm just going to let her do whatever she wants and that she can't manipulate people to get her way. So I told her that if she had asked first, I'd have been happy to let her go to her homecoming dance. But since she decided to make plans and buy stuff before even asking if she could go, I wasn't going to let her. She cried and told me that you only get one freshman homecoming, and I told her maybe she should have thought about that. I said all homecomings are the same anyway. She has 3 more opportunities to go, and she's not missing much. She sulked in her room for the rest of the day and didn't talk much. I tried to comfort her, but my wife said not to because I'd be teaching her that I'd give her my attention if she acted upset and cried. I went to comfort her anyway because I didn't think she was acting, but she rejected me. That infuriated me even more, so I left her in her room to cry alone. Her mother was furious when she found out and demanded that I pay her back the money she spent on the dress and homecoming ticket. I said no, because she didn't clear it with me before buying those things, so it's her own fault. However, she contacted her attorney, who contacted mine, and long story short, I got to sit down with my wife and our family therapist for a painstaking conversation about communication. It's now long after homecoming, and my daughter is pretty much back to normal, but she's still angry with me for not letting her go to that dance. I stand firmly by my decision not to let her go, but was I an idiot? You are the idiot. I stopped at teach her a lesson. It's a school dance. She's not having privileges restricted for poor behavior. So this is just about your ego and need for control, which is stupid to subject a child to. You're claiming your child and her mother are scheming to strong-arm you into a school event that most parents are excited to snap photos of their kids, all dressed up for a first formal high school dance. No kidding. He could have turned this into an extraordinary bonding moment, maturely communicated that she needed to still check with him when she makes plans because he's her parent, and then moved on. This whole thing is dripping with control issues. And what is up with the narrative that you can't check in with your kid when you upset them, and they better be polite and warm to you, or you'll just get madder? Lord, what a child. OP, this isn't about making plans. It's about you being cranky that people made plans without groveling to you for permission first. It would be one thing if they made plans for your daughter to go on a week-long trip to Japan, but no, they made plans for a couple of hours on one day. It's no different than your daughter wanting to spend an afternoon hanging out with friends, because that's exactly what she would be doing. Of course your daughter and mom are upset. You are throwing a very unreasonable tantrum. You are the idiot. It's a homecoming dance. Congrats though. Thanks to your petty behavior, you'll never be in the loop again. You just burnt a bridge. Once your daughter starts partying, you will have no clue. If she gets in a bad situation, you won't hear about it. If she's in danger, then tries to call her mom and she doesn't pick up, best believe your phone won't ring. She'll be on her own. What a crappy power trip that was. Congratulations, you are the boss of her. Woohoo! You will also get to be a stranger to your grandchildren someday too. You must be so proud. I, 36 male, and my ex-wife, 35, have 2 little kids. We have been divorced for 3 years now, and we are both happily remarried. We were bad spouses, but are now decent friends and both good parents. My ex-wife has primary custody, but currently, I get them every other weekend and 2 to 3 evenings a week. It also helps that my wife, 38, and I just live a few miles away in the next town. Since the divorce, My ex-wife has been a stay-at-home mom, and her husband, 36, has a good job making over $120K. I have a good job making about $150K a year, but my wife has always been the breadwinner and recently received a sizable promotion/raise to $280K a year. I've always wanted to go back to school, but I was never able to do it with my work schedule. My wife and I have been talking, and she thinks I should quit my job, go back to school, and be a house husband. She already made the joke about me getting a French maid outfit. Ha ha. Seriously though, this would allow us to spend more time with my kids too. We've been going over this for a few weeks now, talking through how it would reduce our income, retirement savings, how it would affect our marriage, etc. We also talked about how we could logistically do it with the kids too. Luckily, since we live close to my kids' school, it should be easy for me to do school drop-offs and pickups, so I can make a 50-50 arrangement. Here's my concern. Since my wife was a stay-at-home mom and I kept working, I paid her $2,000 a month. So if I quit my job and went 50-50 on custody, I think it would be fair to go back to court to get the child support reduced to zero, since neither of us would be working, and we would be 50-50. I talked to my ex-wife about this, and at first she was on board, until I brought up child support. Then she blew up, calling me selfish for only thinking about myself, and that since I have a good job, I need to keep it. I didn't want to get into a fight with her, so I hung up. But now I'm second-guessing everything. Am I the idiot for wanting to quit my job to be a house husband and go to court to get 50-50 visitation and remove child support? Not the idiot, but both your children's parents would be unemployed, and they would be relying on their step-parents for their financial requirements. I don't think the step-parents would have a legal obligation to their stepchildren, only what they do out of the goodness of their hearts, moral obligation, and actual love and attachment to their stepchildren. Am I the only one who finds this a little unstable and unviable for the kids? Everyone's the idiot here. So both you and your ex are relying on your partners to take care of your kids? What happens if there's a divorce or illness? Will the kids be impacted not just by the reduction in money from child support to pay for lessons, etc., but also being taken away from their friends in this new 50-50 arrangement? There's much about what you and your wife want, but very little about the kids involved. Lastly, while ex's hubby is making good money, do you know their financial situation? Don't take for granted that while this can work out for you, everyone should be okay. You are the idiot. Revisit the custody and child support agreement, but don't expect to have it all your way. Your ex is a stay-at-home mom and made that choice thinking she'd be the primary carer for your kids. And she left a good career to do that. You're now trying to make massive changes to that arrangement. And then in a few years, you want to go back to it? You need to plan out the next 5 to 10 years to make changes and think about what's suitable for the kids, not just you. I, 25 female, have had various health issues my entire life. My seizures aren't medication controlled, and they get worse when my sugar gets low or I stay stressed. I have a service dog. She's able to alert me to lows and before a seizure so I can lie down somewhere safe instead of falling on my face. A few months ago, my aunt told me that my grandma was in late-stage heart failure and she was starting to experience symptoms of dementia. I was heartbroken. My aunt asked if I wanted to visit, and I tearfully said yes. I told her I didn't have any money for any travel or board, which is true. I'm below the poverty line, and she offered to pay for the flight and for me to stay at her and my grandmother's house. I thanked her. I cried. It was kind of a mess. My service dog saw that I was upset and came over to lay her head in my lap for pets. It isn't a task, but it always helps me calm down. My aunt paused, then said, "But you have to leave your pet at home." I was confused. I told her there was no way I would bring my cat on a plane. He's like 16. She sighed really hard and said, "No, the dog. I don't want her at my house. She'll upset the cats." I argued that my service dog is trained, and part of that training is to ignore other animals, unless I give her the cue that she can say hi. Aunt didn't care. "You'll have to leave the dog behind or I won't help you get here." I was in tears again, trying to explain that I can't leave my disabilities at home, which means I can't leave behind the lifeline that helps me live with them. Finally, she told me to make a decision and hung up. I've been denied from public places before, but unfortunately, not every business owner understands or cares about the ADA laws. Obviously, it's different when the person doing it is related to you. Aunt kept dangling this opportunity over my head for weeks. I kept begging her to let me come with my service dog because it was unsafe for me to go without the dog. Aunt goes radio silent. Days pass. She calls me one morning and tells me that my grandma is hours from death. I'm immediately freaking out again. I beg to come down, and Aunt, strangely giddy, asks, "Without the dog, right?" I told her she was being hateful. I told her that I thought she, of all people, would understand, and the fact that she doesn't is tearing me up. She told me that it's sad that a dog is more important than family. A few days passed, and she texted me, forwarded. She didn't even have the decency to copy and paste it, to say that my grandma has passed away, and they'll have a celebration of life at their house later in the month. She specified that no one was to bring any pets. She later texted me individually to make sure that I was leaving that dog at home. I snapped, told her to go screw herself, that I'd stay home, that at least my pet doesn't treat me like crap, that I expected better from my family. So I hung up on her. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your aunt is a monster. It sounds like she enjoyed this. Holy smoke, she doesn't know or care what a service dog is, or cares about your disability. I'm so sorry you went through this. That's your well-being that she's denying. That dog is your safety. This situation sucks all around. You need your service dog to alert you of impending health problems, and she's asking you to leave the dog home without considering this could be life-saving for you? In addition, she has cats that are not accustomed to dogs, which may cause them extreme stress in their own home. You're not the idiot here, but I can see both sides of the situation. Would you please explain how you see both sides of this situation? If OP needed an oxygen tank, and her cats were irresistibly drawn to the tubing and may injure themselves trying to eat it, should the OP have to leave the tank home? No, that would be absurd. This service animal is just as essential to the OP's health and well-being as an oxygen tank would be. Would you mind explaining how trying to deny her necessary medical equipment is appropriate? Not the idiot. I'm sorry for your loss. Unfortunately, your aunt is being hateful. I don't have kids, but I have a niece that I'm close with, and I cannot imagine treating her the way your aunt has treated you. It's simply unthinkable. Can you mark your grandma's passing in some other way? Are you sure she has actually passed, and it's not just your aunt continuing with the emotional blackmail? She sounds like a very cruel and unstable person. About 2 years ago, I began an affair with my oldest daughter's best friend's mom. I loved my wife and our 3 children, but was going through a lot and made a mistake. I moved in with my girlfriend about a year later, but my ex-wife and I remained close. She's not an angry person, and we both wanted to prioritize our kids. My relationship with my oldest daughter, 22, however, has been extremely strained. She doesn't talk to me, and when she does, it's to argue. She also blames me for losing her best friend. After finding out about the affair, my mom also wrote me a long letter, basically telling me how disappointed she was in me, which destroyed me. As my wife and I remain friends, and my current girlfriend doesn't know my mom that well at all, I decided to ask my ex-wife if she'd help me reconnect with my mom when I was over dropping our 2 youngest off back at home. She said she would, and she did. My mom and I are doing really well at the moment because of her. My mom must have mentioned this in conversation to my daughter, as they're extremely close, and I ended up getting a call from my daughter, hugely cussing me out, telling me I'm a horrendous excuse for a human, and that I don't care about her mom or her feelings at all, which simply isn't true. After the call, I called my ex-wife, who eventually told me she was upset that I'd asked her and felt used. My daughter has blocked my number, and my ex-wife hardly talks to me anymore. If my ex-wife was upset, she shouldn't have helped me or should have told me, and my daughter really shouldn't have gotten involved. I just think it's extremely immature from both of them, but I've been told by a few friends that I'm an idiot. Am I the idiot? LOL, are you really that delusional? You are the idiot. You made your bed, lay in it. It's not enough to cheat on your wife and ruin your daughter's friendship because you wanted to be selfish, disloyal, unfaithful, and self-serving, not caring who you hurt. But you also want the person you hurt the most to fix your strained relationship with your mother, which is strained because of your actions. Then have the audacity to blame her feeling used and getting your daughter to be angry with you? Wow, you're forever the idiot. Agree. OP, you did not make a mistake. You made a choice. You selfishly decided to disregard everyone else and do as you please. You should not have asked your ex for any favors. Surprising that your ex can still be your friend. You don't deserve it. Your daughter may be completely done with you, and you would deserve that too. Dude, you broke her heart and then kept using her? But she was nice to you because she sounds like a nice and wholesome person. You are the immature one here, not them. Your actions hurt other people, and you need to remember that. You don't properly own up to your mistakes. You know you did them, but you're claiming they are immature for feeling negative emotions about the situation, and they have every right to. My sister's getting married on the 12th of February. My fiance's sister, who's also my best friend, is getting married on the same day, and I'm a bridesmaid. We've saved the date for more than a year since the wedding date was known last September. On the other hand, my sister finalized her wedding date just this week, and I found out about it 3 days ago. I told her I was sorry, but I didn't know if I could attend her wedding since I'd already committed to my sister-in-law's wedding. Also, I'm not really close to my sister. We respect each other as siblings, but we never had a close relationship. I've never been that close to my family due to the fact that I grew up in a toxic household, and I was always the unwanted child there. I tried not to hold it against them, but growing up this way defined our relationship and the fact that we're not that close. My fiance's family has opened their arms to me for almost a decade, and they've treated me more like my family than my parents and my siblings ever did. For those reasons, and the fact that I have already been a bridesmaid for more than a year, I won't be able to attend my sister's wedding. Now my whole family is holding that against me, and they claim my sister should be more important than my sister-in-law. I told them that I could attend their wedding for a while when my sister-in-law's wedding is over. They say to cancel my plans for sister-in-law's wedding and exclusively attend my sister's, or I'm not invited at all. Now I feel like the idiot for putting my sister-in-law as a priority over my own family and sister's wedding. Edit. Sister claims she didn't know the date, but she knew since she was invited to my sister-in-law's wedding as well as my parents. It's a lie. I was the one who gave them their invitation. Not the idiot. If you give 3 months' notice, then you can't expect everyone to be free. You've already said you'll attend your sister-in-law's wedding, so either way, you'll make family angry, unfortunately. If there are 2 equally important events, then the clearest deciding factor is who booked or told me first, pushing the issue back on the second organizer. Sister and parents already knew about OP's sister-in-law's date. If OP's sister is the golden child and the parents are that awful, I wouldn't be surprised if they're deliberately giving OP a test to try and damage her relationship with her in-laws, or just some general power play. I know a wedding date can't accommodate every single person on your guest list. Still, people always check with parents, siblings, and bridal parties, anyone else they absolutely must have there, before settling on a date. They knew and they wanted to cause trouble. Yes, I also thought that the family by blood did it deliberately, maybe out of jealousy that OP has a loving new family. OP, you know very well which one is your real family. Adults are in the lucky situation that they can choose who is family for them. Not the idiot, and stay away from these toxic people.